Welcome back to Wrestling Impact, the channel where we don't just cover wrestling, we live it, we feel it, and tonight, we are breaking down one of the most jaw-dropping, spine-chilling, absolutely savage moments to happen backstage on SmackDown in a very long time. Because Rhea Ripley, the Nightmare, the most dangerous woman walking the face of this planet, did not just show up last Friday night. She hunted, she waited, and then she struck with the cold, calculated precision of someone who has been holding something inside for far too long. So if you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because what we are about to walk you through is the kind of content that is going to have your jaw on the floor. And if you are a returning member of the Wrestling Impact family, you already know we don't do watered-down coverage. We go deep. We go cinematic. We make you feel every single moment. So settle in, because this story is something else entirely. Let's paint the picture. SmackDown is live. The arena is electric, thousands of fans packed wall to wall, signs waving, chants filling the air. The show has been rolling along at a blistering pace, delivering match after match, segment after segment. And Jade Cargill, the 6-foot powerhouse, the woman who has been redefining what it means to be a superstar on the blue brand, is having herself a night. She's been seen backstage earlier in the evening, all business, headphones in, locked in, focused. She recorded a quick backstage promo before the show. She did her warm-up. She went through her preparations like the professional she is. Everything is going according to plan. But here is what Jade Cargill did not know. Here is what nobody told her. Rhea Ripley had been in that building since 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Not to compete. Not scheduled for a match. Not advertised for a promo or a segment. Rhea Ripley was there for one reason and one reason only, and that reason had a name. Now, before we get to the moment itself, we need to talk about how we got here. Because context is everything in wrestling. The relationship between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill is one that has been simmering just beneath the surface for months. These are two women who occupy the same rarefied air, physically imposing, supremely confident, undeniably talented, and absolutely magnetic in front of a crowd. When you have two forces like that existing in the same space, collision isn't just possible, it's inevitable. There have been looks exchanged. There have been moments on social media where the temperature between these two was unmistakably rising. There have been backstage encounters, the kind that don't make it to television but absolutely make the rounds among people close to the product, where words were exchanged. Tense words. Words that carried weight. And Rhea Ripley, more than almost anyone in that locker room, does not forget. She doesn't let things slide. She doesn't move on and pretend something didn't happen. She files it away. She locks it in a vault inside that nightmare mind of hers, and she waits for exactly the right moment to collect what she feels she is owed. And last Friday night on SmackDown, that vault swung wide open. Here is how it went down. We're talking about the third hour of SmackDown. The building is buzzing, the main event is approaching, and the backstage area is beginning to thin out slightly as production resources shift toward the ring. This is the window. This is the moment a tactician picks when they want maximum impact with minimum interference. Jade Cargill is walking through one of the main corridor areas backstage. She's coming from the catering area, heading back toward the locker room section. She's got a water bottle in hand. She's moving with that natural confidence and authority she always carries, like she owns every room she walks into. And why wouldn't she? She belongs there. She has earned that walk. But the corridor she chooses takes her past a staging area and equipment section just off the main hallway, lined with road cases, production gear, cables running along the floor. It's slightly more dimly lit than the main corridor. The kind of place you walk past 100 times during a show and never give a second thought to. And that is where Rhea Ripley is waiting. The moment Jade passes the entrance to that staging area, it happens. Rhea comes out of nowhere, and I mean that literally, because people backstage have described this as so sudden, so explosive, that it took a full second for anyone nearby to even process what was happening. Rhea grabs Jade from behind, and it is immediately clear this is not a confrontation. This is not a face-to-face standoff. This is a statement. This is Rhea Ripley saying, without saying a single word, that she does not play by the rules of civil engagement. She plays by her own rules. And her rules say if she wants to make a point, she makes it on her terms. The scuffle is intense and immediate. Jade, because she is an absolute specimen of an athlete and her reflexes are extraordinary, reacts faster than you might expect. She doesn't just fold. She spins, she pushes back, she creates space, and for a brief moment there's this incredible image of these two titans absolutely locked in a war of physicality that no camera was fully prepared to capture. We're talking production crew scrambling, people in headsets suddenly going quiet as they try to process the audio and visual feeds picking up the commotion. Security is already moving, because when Rhea Ripley is involved, you move fast. But here is the thing about Rhea. The thing that makes her so uniquely terrifying in this context. She doesn't need long. She isn't looking for a match. She isn't looking for a prolonged exchange. She gets in, she delivers her message viscerally, physically, unmistakably, and then security arrives and the chaos of people flooding the space gives Rhea exactly the cover she needs to step back, to let the situation absorb around her, to stand in the middle of all of it with that look on her face. You know the look. That slow, slightly smiling, absolutely unhinged calm that is somehow more frightening than any rage you've ever seen. Like she's exactly where she planned to be. Like this went exactly how she drew it up. And Jade Cargill, who is absolutely not someone you want to back into a corner, is being restrained not because she needs to be controlled but because cooler heads in that moment are recognizing that if these two are allowed to continue without any structure, what happens next is going to be far beyond a backstage incident. The intensity radiating off of Jade in that moment is described by people who were there as something that was almost difficult to look directly at. She is furious. She is shaking with adrenaline. And she is staring at Rhea with the kind of focus that does not go away. The kind that carries over from Friday night to Saturday morning to every day of the following week and beyond. Now, the fallout. Because this is where it gets genuinely fascinating from a storytelling perspective, and wrestling at its absolute best is always storytelling. An ambush like this does not exist in a vacuum. It sends shockwaves. It shifts dynamics. It changes the conversation in that locker room immediately, and it changes the conversation online within minutes. Let's talk about the locker room reaction first, because that matters enormously. When something like this happens backstage, a genuine, unscripted confrontation with real adrenaline and real physical contact, it sends a message to everyone, not just the person targeted. Every other superstar backstage who saw it or heard about it in the next 20 minutes is now recalibrating. They're asking themselves questions. Where does this go? How does management respond? Is this going to become something that consumes the next several weeks of television? And most importantly, whose side are you on? Because in a situation this charged, you are going to have to pick one. And the fans. Oh, when word started getting out through social media, through people talking, through the kinds of conversations that spread like wildfire when something genuinely unexpected happens, the reaction was electric. You had one camp absolutely erupting in support of Rhea. The Nightmare faithful who have been waiting and waiting for her to reassert herself as an absolutely dominant force, who see this ambush as the most perfectly Rhea thing she could possibly do and are here for every second of it. That is our queen, they're saying. That is the woman we fell in love with. Calculated. Ruthless. Unapologetic. And then you have the people who are riding hard for Jade Cargill, and there are a lot of them, because Jade has built a remarkable and fiercely loyal following, and they are not happy. They are calling this cowardly. They're saying if Rhea wanted to prove something, she should have done it face to face, toe to toe, in the middle of that ring where they could settle it properly. They're saying Jade deserved better than a blindside. And that energy? That righteous, fired up, how dare she energy coming from Jade's supporters? That is fuel. That is the exact kind of fuel that makes a rivalry burn long and bright. Because here is what an ambush does that a straightforward confrontation does not. It creates unfinished business. It creates a debt. And in wrestling, debts are always collected eventually. The only questions are when and how spectacular the collection is going to be when it finally arrives. Let's talk about Rhea Ripley herself for a moment, because I think sometimes in the rush to cover the action, we don't fully appreciate just how unique she is as a character and as a performer. Rhea Ripley is one of those exceedingly rare individuals in this business who does not have to manufacture intensity. It radiates from her naturally. When she walks into a room, or in this case, when she explodes out of a staging area, there is an authenticity to her physicality and her presence that you simply cannot fake. She has lived the hard road in this business. She has fought for everything she has. She has been overlooked and underestimated, and she has used every single piece of that to build something remarkable. And the Rhea Ripley who exists today, the Nightmare in her fullest, most terrifying form, is a woman who has decided that she will never, ever wait for opportunity to come to her again. She creates it. She manufactures it with her own hands, sometimes literally. What she did to Jade Cargill last Friday night was not random. It was not impulsive. It was a choice. A deliberate, purposeful choice to announce herself in a language that cannot be misunderstood or softened or reframed. She was saying, I see you, Jade. I have been watching you. And I want you to know really, deeply, in your bones know that when I decide the time is right, there is nowhere in that building that is safe for you. Not the ring, not the backstage area, not the catering section, not the parking lot, nowhere. That is a message that lands differently than any promo. That is a message that lives in your body, not just your mind. Now, I want to take a second and give some real love and appreciation to Jade Cargill here, because in the aftermath of this, her response has been absolutely note perfect. She has not panicked. She has not gone into hiding. She has not been showing up to television looking over her shoulder. She is showing up with her head up, with her energy dialed all the way to maximum, with the kind of control fury that suggests she is very much looking forward to the opportunity to respond. Jade Cargill is someone who has faced enormous pressure and expectation at every stage of her career and has consistently risen to meet it. She came into this business with the deck somewhat stacked in terms of physicality and presence, but she has worked tirelessly to develop the full toolkit: the in-ring ability, the character depth, the promo skill, the storytelling instincts. She has put the work in. And the Jade Cargill who exists on the other side of all that work is someone who does not need to be protected from Rhea Ripley. She needs to be unleashed. Which is exactly what Rhea Ripley just did. In trying to send a message of dominance, she may have inadvertently lit a fire under her opponent that is going to come roaring back at her with everything Jade has. And Jade Cargill has a lot. So where do we go from here? What does this mean for the weeks ahead? Because this is the question everyone in the Wrestling Impact community is asking, and I am going to give you my honest, thoughtful take on it. This ambush was an opening move. Chess, not checkers. Rhea Ripley has placed a piece on the board and now the game is officially in motion. The response from SmackDown management, the response from Jade, the response from the broader roster, all of that will shape the next chapter. And if the storytelling instincts of everyone involved continue to reflect the quality we have seen from these two women individually, what is coming could be something genuinely special. The kind of rivalry that people talk about for years. The kind that defines an era. The kind that makes new fans fall in love with this business and makes longtime fans remember exactly why they fell in love with it in the first place. Because that is what happens when two extraordinary talents with legitimate heat between them are given the space and the trust to let it play out authentically. The crowd feels it. The energy in that arena shifts. Those moments cease to be television and become something closer to genuine human drama playing out in front of thousands of people live and millions more watching at home. Last Friday night on SmackDown, Rhea Ripley didn't just start a rivalry. She may have started something historic. Music swells then gradually winds down to a warm, closing tone, and that, Wrestling Impact family, is why we are here. That is why this channel exists. Not just to tell you what happened, but to make you feel it. To put you inside the corridor backstage. To let you feel that electricity in the air. To make sure that when you watch this week's SmackDown, you are watching it with full context, full appreciation, and full emotional investment in what you are witnessing. This story between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill is just beginning, and I promise you we will be here for every single chapter of it. Every twist, every confrontation, every shocking moment, every incredible athletic display, every promo that raises the temperature of a rivalry that is already running hot. Wrestling Impact has you covered. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that like button right now. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps this channel reach more wrestling fans who deserve to find content like this. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to know, whose side are you on? Team Rhea? Team Jade? Are you absolutely losing your mind over what happened backstage? Are you already dreaming about what the inevitable match between these two is going to look like? Talk to me down there because I read every single comment and I love this community with everything I've got. And if you are not yet subscribed to Wrestling Impact, what are you doing? Seriously, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you never miss a video, because we are putting out content that you simply do not want to sleep on. This community is growing fast, the energy is incredible, and the best is absolutely yet to come. This has been Wrestling Impact. Stay passionate about this beautiful, crazy, spectacular sport we love, and we will see you in the next one.